Very cool.
Most people know where Port Douglas is, so yeah, just up near there. So it's 6 a.m. at the moment.
Oh, whoa. Is that early?
Impressive.
That's why I have a hat on,
Oh
because
my
I got
goodness.
out of bed. Got out of bed, went and made a coffee and all that, and I went, I'll just put a hat on. It's easier. So I know I look like a trucker, but
Well, you've got the super professional look on the wall behind you anyway, so we can just look
yeah,
at that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I'm supposed to look.
Super.
With the shades. Whoosh.
Yeah, I've still got them too. Still have that same pair, except the handles have been super glued together. Because we were on a holiday. We were in when I was in America last time, and I sat on them, and I broke them. But they've got like a reading section down the bottom, so that they're sunglasses. But if I want to read something, I can actually read something with them. And I don't want to go and buy another pair of sunglasses that don't at least have that reading thing on there. So instead, I just went and bought some super glue and just stuck them all back together. So when you've got them on, you wouldn't know the difference, except when you take them off, you can't close them. So it's
Right.
you can't put them anywhere because
That's
it's all
smart
sort of
though.
stuck together. So so I just have them sitting outside now. They're my if I go for a walk and shoot a video, they're my walking glasses.
That's good. That's funny. I'm just messaging in the group because I think Valerie's going to jump onto Soul.
I know. I feel like we just got a backstage pass to some naughty little secret of yours, and
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Because
we know, we know all about your glasses.
oh, I know. I know. I actually did hit record, so let me know if you want me to cut this out. If that's gonna hurt,
No, that's
your brand. I mean,
doesn't hurt my brand. My brand is a bit crazy anyway.
well, Tyson and Diann, do you guys want to say a quick introduction so that you know each other a little bit more?
I thought I've said enough.
But I missed the first 2 minutes, so please.
Okay, so I live in Cairns, 3 children. 20, or this year they'll be 28, 26, and 15. So bit of fun. And my oldest son, who's 26 this year. So my background is podiatry. So I've been a podiatrist for 30 years, and until about 2.5 years ago, when I sold my last practice and have no plans on looking at feet again. But my son's a podiatrist, silly bugger.
Does he still call you for advice on stuff?
Yeah, he does. He still does. So he's playing. He wanted to always come and work with me, but I sold the practice just before he graduated. But 6 months before he graduated, which was funny.
Oh my goodness.
So the offer was too good to. I said, well, you were never going to pay me that, so I had to take it.
Yeah. And you're a podcaster.
I'm a podcaster. I've got a second podcast starting. Well, I've done about 8 recordings for it, just waiting for iTunes to get it on, called Podiatry Legends.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really specific podcast hosted by a podiatrist. Every guest is a podiatrist, and all we talk about is podiatry, but it's everyone I've got on the show has done something unique in the profession. So they've either worked with shoe companies. One of them's set up a cooking school on the side to what they do as podiatry. Some have got management companies. Some have just got awesome podiatry businesses. One's called the Foot Magician. Wow. And so they're all just doing unique things, written books. So I'm trying to show students, recent graduates, and people that have been in the profession who are stale that, there's so much to the profession if you want to open your eyes. It's not all about just sitting in a clinic all day and looking at feet or foot and ankle problems. So I think it'll go well. The feedback so far has been really good.
That's cool. And then the topic of your book that you're working on.
It's up and down all the time.
Diann and you will get along well.
Wait, I didn't hear what he said. What'd you say?
The title in my head keeps changing. But my first book was It's No Secret There's Money in Podiatry. And so then my second book was It's No Secret There's Money in Small Business, which is a revamp of the first book. So I took out everything podiatry related and pumped it full of steroids. And it's like, to me, it's a far better book than the first book. But if you're a podiatrist, you'd probably want to read the first book because it's more podiatry specific. But this is a better book. And then the third book I was thinking was It's No Secret There's Money in Podcasting. And even though there'll be people going, my wife, who will say, "Oh yeah, where's all the money from podcasting?" Which I think is very funny. But like I've got a coaching gig that I do with a dental company. If it wasn't through podcasting, I wouldn't have that coaching gig. I had Yanni Lunga on last night as my guest.
Yeah.
So I think the episode's going to go for well over an hour. But we're talking about the benefits of guest podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think by being not only can you benefit by being a guest, but by being a podcaster and getting better at that, you become a better guest, which can promote your brand and personal brand. So in both of my books, I had this area called the 6 pillars of marketing. So that was the other title I was tossing up with, was the 6 pillars of marketing for podcasters. So it's sort of, yeah, I'm thinking, do I make them 2 different books? Yeah, that one, there's money in podcasting, or the 6 pillars of marketing for podcasters. That's where I'm sort of a bit stuck. Open to suggestions.
Diann, any thoughts? You're working on a podcast and a book too.
Yeah. Do you want to continue building the brand? Because from what you've just described, it's no secret there's money in podiatry. It's no secret this. It's no that could be an brand for you that could continue to spin off all these, and especially might form some alliances with some of the people that you interview who are doing different things, and then there might be. It's no secret there's money in podiatry partnerships or podiatry products, or like if that's kind of a brand element for you, like an umbrella, you could have these different product lines under that. So are you interested in building?
Froze.
Off and having a different brand?
You froze a little bit there, but I think I knew where the question was going. That was how. So initially, my thought was, the 6 pillars of marketing for podcasters, because the 6 pillars of marketing is a lot of things that I work on and do workshops on it. But it was a friend of mine, Jesse Green, who has a podcast called The Savvy Dentist, and he said, your next book should be It's No Secret There's Money in Podcasting. He said you should be sticking with that umbrella of what you've already. He said you've already started to build a brand around that. He said you should actually stick with that. He said it's not saying you still can't do workshops on the 6 pillars of marketing and that type of thing, but sticking with the brand of what you've already done. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to head, is down that particular path.
Yeah, my gut thought too is I just feel more interested and entertained by the It's No Secret There's Money in Podcasting versus 6 pillars of marketing for podcasters. Makes me feel like it's going to be a bit more dry and like maybe even it would be a great like downloadable worksheet or something, but like It's No Secret, it makes it kind of more fun feeling. And then I think too, like it's almost a tongue in cheek. So if people are like, oh, I thought making money in podcasting was hard, but your book is basically saying like, no, you definitely can. It's like, oh, dang, I better read this because.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too that I think sometimes with podcasting, it's just a traditional thing. Everyone's, like you'll hear people in some of these podcasting groups, and I don't comment because you're too busy laughing on the inside that you can't type. And it's like, I'm about to start a show, and you would have seen these comments, and you probably had their own thoughts go through your head when you're starting it yourself. Yeah, you're just about to start getting your show right, and you go, and you'll see comments. I'm about to start a show. I was wondering how much should I charge for sponsors.
Oh my, yeah, no, I've never seen those.
and you sort of go, okay, so you haven't got one listener yet, and you want to know how much you should be charging a sponsor, and people not realizing, it's not a donation. I say that in my book, like sponsorship. if you're sponsoring something, if you're not getting a return on your sponsorship, then it's just a donation, accept it.
Yeah,
So, I haven't found any companies yet that just want to donate me money.
Yeah. So see, that could work if you already have a big audience elsewhere and the podcast is just be another thing and you're going to continue to distribute that to the audience because then you're going to get listeners fast and maybe someone will want to get in on the ground floor at like a better deal.
Well, with my Podiatry Legends one, I'm actually considering that. I haven't released it yet. I've done about 8 recordings. 3 are actually, I've already put 3 on Libsyn, but just haven't promoted it there. But because it's such a niche market, once I get the first 10 episodes out and I see what sort of people are listening to it, what feedback I'm getting, even if it's only 200 or 300 people that end up listening to that particular show, if it's 200 or 300 podiatrists
Right,
that
that's
have an interest
super
in
valuable for some
business that want to do better, it's super valuable to anyone that in the healthcare industry that has CRM programs, sells certain supplies and stock, even companies that are running events. So I think I'm actually really excited about that. Even though I love It's No Secret with Dr. T, the people I talk to is just so cool.
I love that.
So Diann, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I've taken over.
No, I'm enjoying it. I am a coach. I am currently working primarily with creative entrepreneurs who have difficulties with procrastination, perfectionism, distractibility, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was a psychotherapist for 20 years. I had a private practice for 8 years. I closed that about 2 years ago when I started coaching. And I currently live in Southern California, where I've been for a long time. But my husband and I bought a place on the Oregon coast almost 3 years ago. And we've been flying up there to use the place. And
Is Oregon's north? Is that up near Canada?
Yes. Yeah. It's not quite that far, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because California, Oregon, Washington State, and then Canada.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't realize Oregon was in between. I thought Washington was across. Okay.
Hey, Valerie.
But he's just accepted a position that is location independent.
Yeah.
And we've decided to move to Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
so
okay.
we divide our time between the two. But what's interesting is that, I was always working with people face to face in an office, and now I'm working mostly virtually. And now for the first time, we are both going to be working from home.
Oh, froze.
So so I'm currently in transition, and the book and the podcast are to help build visibility with the audience and grow from there. So
is the podcast up yet?
No, I have the artwork. I have but yeah, it's.
Oh, Diann, your Wi-Fi is really.
We almost. All right, I'll just stop talking.
No. I want you to keep.
No, that's all right.
Do you by chance?
Well, it's frustrating if it's choppy. So.
But do you have one of those like a cord you can plug in directly and not be on Wi-Fi?
I'd have to go in the room where the dogs are, so I'll just mute myself. Yeah, there are 3 chihuahuas. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I've got one min pin chihuahua mix. They have to play someday.
Yeah, we got a little bitso that's just sitting, still asleep, but it'll hear me soon. It'll start scratching on the door.
How'd you going, Valerie? Oh,
yeah.
You got 2 over there. Oh, now Tuck hears us talking. Come here. Want to say hi? All right. Tuck heard us talking in excited voices. Here he is. Hello.
Yeah, I'm sure our dog will wake up soon.
Back to bed. Cool. Well, yeah. So Diann is working on a podcast and a book, both. And Valerie, similar. So Valerie, do you want to pop in and say hello?
Yeah. Hi. Sorry I'm late. I'm working on my book right now, mainly in editing, although I have a few little inserts to add in because I had my interview with Pat Flynn this morning.
Yay! Exciting.
So I've been interviewing people for my book, and then I'm taking all those interviews and using them as podcast episodes and YouTube videos. And I'm just going to promote the crap out of those video and audio files over the next year, probably. I was mapping it all out, and I'm trying to figure out how to space all of this out so that it's not like book, you know, and still have some like moments to breathe so my audience doesn't get completely sick of me talking about all this. And as I'm like spacing this all out, I mean, it's going to take me through most of 2019 with all the content that I have. So that's kind of a nice thing, but but I'm not enjoying this editing part of things. I'm just ready for the book to be live, you know? So I liked writing the book and I'm sure I will like promoting it, but yeah, I'm just, ready for the
You're
editing.
editing it yourself?
No, I've got some people that are looking through it currently, but it's just taking longer than I would hope.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, there's so many things that I'm just second guessing myself on. So yeah, I'm just ready to just have it be out there in the world. Just be done.
Yeah, done is better than perfect. Trust me.
Yeah.
And what
Except
is it?
I have seen some dones that shouldn't have been done.
Right. That's what I'm hoping to prevent.
Yeah, I've seen some where I have read some people's books and I've gone, and then they basically, it only took me 2 days to write this book and get it out there, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I can tell. So I think there is a balancing act between something that will be too fast to something that needs a little bit of, as long as you don't get analysis paralysis, where you're spending too much time. I was with a writing group 4 or 5 years ago, and there was 4 of us in the group. 2 of us got our books out, and the other 2 are still haven't done it yet. And one of them he just kept sending it out to all these people, wanting them to read his book and then write him a really good recommendation. Unless he got one, he wasn't going to put it out.
Wow.
And just instead of just going, it's good, just do it.
Yeah.
But just kept putting it off. You'll have it out soon.
Yes. When is your launch date, Valerie?
I don't have an exact date. I was aiming for the 23rd, and I don't think that's realistic right now, simply because my editors are taking longer. And so by the time I get that all done and be able to format it and, you know, go into that step, but maybe the 30th. Otherwise, I'm going to aim for the first week of February. Like, it's just going to have to happen. So
what's the title of the book?
It's called We're All Ears, and it's increasing your impact, influence, and success online in a noisy world.
Oh, We're All Ears. I like that.
Yeah. So it's mainly about digital marketing and getting your message out there to the world. So,
And did you decide on a cover? Because I haven't seen updates in the group.
Yeah, I haven't posted. I probably need to, because I'm narrowing down more on color choices. But
keep posting all the steps. It's so fun. Like, it's fun for us in the group to see, but then also post socially. It's great marketing.
I know. Well, and I think, Laura, you saw it, and I posted it in your free group about starting like a designated Facebook launch group. To just know, like, who are my designated people that I'm going to hound if they haven't given me a review yet.
Right.
Hound in like a nice way, but you know, I'm going to bug them especially hard, but
a launch team, street team.
Yeah. Well, and I also, one of the questions I asked in there was like, what is their favorite book? And I'm thinking I'm going to do just some random giveaways leading up to my actual book being live of other people's books that are favorites, just to keep people engaged. And then once my book's out, be able to give away some other freebies associated with my book. So I don't know, just some ideas I'm throwing around.
Cool. I like it. So usually for this, and you missed on meeting Tyson. He is in Australia.
How you doing?
In Cairns. How do you pronounce it?
Cairns. Cairns. Well, just think you kick a can on the road, Cairns.
But it's Cairns, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're like the closest space to the Great Barrier Reef, huh?
It's right at our doorstep.
Okay, we need to have a retreat over there. Who's in? A book writing retreat? That's amazing. And so you have a brand of It's No Secret with Dr. T for your podcast. There's no secret there's money in small business. Book, It's No Secret there's money in podiatry, because that's your background as a podiatrist, and you're working maybe It's No Secret there's money in podcasting.
that may be the next one, which more than likely will be after Diann's wise words.
So all four of us are also lovers of podcasts and books and repurposing and all that good stuff. So that's awesome. So, okay, questions. What is on your mind? Is a block that's slowing you down? Anything. We can do screen share. We can just talk it out. Anything.
I just need to get started on the next book. I just need to sit down and just start writing. My biggest obstacle has always been just not structuring my days the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my plan for 2019. And towards the end of 2018, I just made a deal with myself that I wouldn't check my mobile phone while I was lying in bed. Yeah, before going to sleep, wouldn't be checking Facebook, Instagram, and just when I go to bed, I go to bed. It's that simple. Don't even look at my emails before I go to bed. If it's that urgent, it'll be there tomorrow.
Right.
And when I wake up, instead of waking up the first thing, reaching out, grabbing your phone and just going, oh, who in the world wants me? And I'll just get out of bed and I already know what I'm going to do the next day. So I'm getting better structure, but I just got to get my days structured between my podcast interviews, coaching calls, and that type of thing, and block out chunks of time to do writing. So that's the only thing holding me back, is just blocking out the time and doing it. And it's just been a really hectic start to the year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one thing I find that helps is if we pick a launch date and we start making it public, then it gets your butt in gear.
True.
Because you can let yourself down a lot. But once you start saying it publicly, you're like, oh, crap. And that could be 30 days if you're insane like me, or that could be 6 months. It doesn't matter. But if you pick something, I would say shorter than 6 months, ideally. I think a sweet spot is say maybe 2 to 4 months.
Yeah.
It's still enough in the horizon where you're like, oh, I better get moving on this. So your brain doesn't let you procrastinate, but not so soon that you just feel completely overwhelmed and shut down if you feel like you have so many other things going on to balance.
And I've also got to go through all the resources that you sent me with links to emails and all. I haven't sat down and gone through everything yet.
Oh, no worries.
Got engaged more with the group and that type of thing. So
yeah, maybe a writing buddy I can match.
Yeah, I won't be doing it in 30 days.
Yeah, that's okay.
That won't be happening. And I don't know the process of once I've got it written. If I sat down and said, "Oh, yes, it's done. I've done it all in a week. I've written the whole thing." Had a friend who's an editor read through it and said it's ready to go. Then I'm not sure what to do with it next, because I've gone through traditional publishers, and I don't want to do that with this one. So I don't know what I do after I've got it written.
Well, I've got you covered. That is what all the video tutorials and step-by-steps are for. And actually over the holidays, I moved everything out of where it is right now. It's still there, but I moved it from ClickFunnels, this is where it's built, and I put it in Thinkific because I like their platform a little better for for engagement, for going through it. Yeah. And I was kind of trying to map out what's logical for people kind of viewing it. So I decided to break it into 2 levels. So level 1 is writing, getting the manuscript done. So it's writing, editing, formatting, and cover design. So that's all in one course sort of chunk. And then the next chunk is self-publishing, doing a bestseller launch. So I teach this, what I call a track formula, TRACK. It's the 5 components that go into having a great bestseller launch. And then I also talk about what to do next for print, and if you want to do an audiobook, where do you go? And then after this is all updated and launched and stuff, I'm going to work on a level 3, which is, okay, now let's leverage our books. So get more podcast interviews and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to develop that next. But what I will do, because it's you know how you guys are all in the stage, I'm sure, at different things. I feel like it's 98% done, so I haven't shared it with you guys yet, but I should just share it with you because it's all there. And I actually updated some stuff too that was oh, well, CreateSpace is no more, so let's just take out any reference to CreateSpace and those kinds of things. So I'll create you guys new logins and even shoot a little video overview of how to navigate it. Or I'm happy with any of you guys, if you want to jump on and do a screen share, we can get on for 15, 20 minutes and just click all around and navigate it so that it makes total sense of okay, if I have a question about this, where do I go? And that's even good feedback for me too, to make it better for everybody. But I try to make it super crystal clear, like even more clear than it is organized now, so that you just know what to do, like step by step, and go through that. And then of course, if you have questions, that's what.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. And I think that first I just need to do the first part, write it.
Yeah.
And so with your process, and is there a certain number of words that you think is the ideal
Well,
size?
yeah, we talked about this in a past call. I think Diann, you were on there. So it just depends really also on your style. Cause like, as we were talking about this in a couple calls ago, some people prefer like, I'm just going to block out 1 hour. And if I write one word or if I write 5,000 words, great. I'm just going to block out this time and just go for it. Other people are like, I don't care how long it takes me. I'm getting to 1,000 words today. And it could take me 30 minutes or 5 hours or whatever. So I'd say it's just a personal preference. Like, do you want to
I was saying more the final book, the size of the book, 30,000 words, 40,000 words, 50,000
Gotcha.
words.
Oh, sorry. So how many pages do you feel like you like when you pick up a book? Like, I would say go off of pages, because
because sometimes like I've picked up books and you see the book when it's being promoted, and then when you actually order the book and you get it, you go, wow, it's a lot smaller than I was expecting. And it's in like size 20 font writing all the way through it, and you go, okay, this must only be like 5,000 words. They've spread it out, they've put pictures in there, and I've gone, wow, it's not what I was expecting.
Right. Well,
and
I really believe it. Like, it should just be as long as it needs to be to give the value that you're trying to give to the ideal audience. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. If you really just feel like you fully addressed a topic. After my first book was like 360 pages, it's freaking huge. I don't like it being that big. I realized because it's a higher cost per print for me. It's heavy, so I don't feel like carrying it around everywhere, although I would like to, so I could take pictures with it, etc. My second one is like 180, 190, I think, 170, and that one is a lot better. I feel like it's lighter, but it still is meaty enough that it feels like a real book. So actually, while we're talking,
it's got to have thud value.
Right. So I'll pull up my manuscript because I forgot how many words are in there. But I personally like the dimension 6x9. It's just super standard. And let's see, I don't have my red book right here, but my red one is 6x9, which is really standard. My
I think mine was a standard.
This is also 6x9. This is my client Jimmy. And his book this is also really, really heavy. It's like 340 pages, which to me, like when I got it, I was like, oh, it's kind of big. And I asked him, do you want me to change the font? So it just is like a little more condensed. He's like, no, it's fine. Let's just go with it. But that's also a nice thing too, is like, if you are all done and you look at what it'll be in print and it's going to be like 250 pages and you're like, oh, that's a little big, you could just drop down your font size by like 0.5 or something, like from 12 to 11.5 or 11.5 to 11 or whatever, and see what that does, so that you can kind of manipulate the page numbers.
Okay.
I'm going to look up my word count just so you know too.
And when you're typing your book up, are you doing it just in Word and then you're transferring it to something later?
So I hate Word. So I'm a biased person to ask because I hate it. I don't own it. Do you have a PC or a Mac?
I have a Mac.
Okay. So I like Scrivener.
Scrivener?
Yes. And I'll send you the links and I'll point you in the direction of where the tutorials are too inside of the updated course, because I talk about it in depth, and I'm happy to add Q&A answers to anything that you guys think of more, because it's just like with anything, there's a bit of a learning curve, but it's actually built for authors of books. Like, it's built for writing books, whereas Word is just like type whatever. It could be any kind of document. It's actually, let me show you. I'm just pulling up my.
How do you spell Scrivener?
Scrivener.
Oh, geez, they spelled it the right way.
Wow. Nice phonetic job there.
I thought it was going to be like a on the end, Scrivener.
Yeah. So, oh my God, how is this it's only 15,000 words? Okay, so this one is not very many words. The second one. My first one was way too long, so I went shorter on this one. Jimmy's book, this one that's really big, it's about 60,000.
Okay.
So about 340 pages, 12.5. And I have a writing style where I like to put a lot of spaces between lines, so there aren't huge blobs of text. So someone else editing this type of thing, it would have been fewer pages just because they probably wouldn't have put as many.
And that's the other part, is when I wrote the first two books, the tips I was getting was, make sure you don't have really short paragraphs. Make the paragraphs bigger and chunkier. But then since doing those books the last couple of years, everything's, keep your paragraphs shorter, more white space, so people can put more notes, and it's easier to read and consume that way. So yeah, it's amazing. And that's only in the last couple of years, I think things have changed slightly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I personally like to just write things from more scanning, because I think we're more of like a scanning world now, not like an academic trained thing. Like I wouldn't be cut head with a paragraph fewer than 4 sentences, but now I'm like, one line, we're good. Next paragraph.
Well, first, some of the paragraphs that are in my book, the other one that I wrote, they're, you have a look at the size of them.
Oh wow, yeah.
And that was sort of the direction I was taking. Jesus Christ, some of them are huge. When I look back, but when I'm writing now, because a lot of blog articles and stuff like that, big headings. I followed a few of your tips when you were on my show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Ultimately it comes down to your style and maybe to like your audience. Is your audience super traditional and academic, and they're not going to take you seriously unless you write that way?
And I think that was part of it. Podiatrists are boring as hell. So,
well, you could push the envelope a little bit, give them a little bit of taste of something new. But yeah, so this is Scrivener. You basically have a left-hand sidebar where you keep track of all of your things. So what I do is like, I make folders, the chapter headers, and then these little documents inside the folders, I make those like subsections inside of the chapter.
Okay.
So it's super easy to keep everything organized. And if you want to update something, you're like, I wanted to update, here's Tom, Tom's case study in the book. Then I can just quickly pop over here, versus in Word, you scroll like 400 pages to get down to where you want to edit it.
But then you can also, I just noticed you got hyperlinks and all that in there as well. So you just add them straight in.
Yeah, you can hyperlink stuff. It'll work for Kindle, and then for print, you'll just need to make sure the URL is written out, because people obviously can't click on it.
Yeah.
So if it's like a really long one, you'll want to get a shortener for it.
And that's what you're saying. First, you're doing this all for Kindle, aren't you? And then
that's
you go
what,
back and tidy it up for it to be for print.
That's what I love to coach, because I feel like if you try to do both, it's overwhelming because there are differences and there's more things to kind of keep straight with formatting and plans. And then second, when you go to launch it, psychologically, we like to give people just one thing to do. Go buy this Kindle, buy just it. But if you give them multiple formats and then they're like, well, which one should I get? Or like, I don't want to spend $20. Never mind. I didn't even notice the Kindle. There's like other things that happen. So I say, just start with Kindle. You can drop it down to 99 cents as well. So it's a super easy thing to just force all of your friends and family to go buy. Like if you have any social equity with someone, they should be willing to buy it for $1.
Yep, that makes sense.
So I like to go for that for the bestseller first, and then take a breather, and maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, you could then do the print version. And now you have another excuse to get in front of everyone and do another push and marketing and fun, blah, blah, blah. So you kind of break up the marketing push for it too.
Okay. So I like this program though. It looks good. Is this what Diann, Valerie, are you using this? Scrivener?
I wrote mine originally in Word, and I transferred it to Google Docs to allow my editors to get shared access. And then I'm going to be having to transfer it probably over to Scrivener, is my guess.
Okay.
So, I mean, the transfer from Word to Google Doc was easy. I'm not sure how much work it's going to be to move it over to Scrivener. So,
if you're already comfortable with Word, I might say just stick with it.
really?
I mean, it's already
The
written.
Scrivener edit as well. Yeah, like, because a lot of times I've been writing stuff lately, like blogs and that, just straight into Grammarly.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, actually,
And just doing it there and then transferring it across.
you know what? They do have, I'm trying to remember what's my short code here. They do have a spell check and grammar check in here, but honestly, I have found that it misses stuff. So, because when I was doing Jimmy's book, I went through it with this grammar check on every single one part of the things and then sent it to him and they were like, oh, we found an error here or there. And I was like, what? And so what I ended up doing was literally copying and pasting every page over to Grammarly just to do another check because I was like, I don't want there to be any errors. So they have one, but I don't feel like it catches everything. So that's smart to have Grammarly as a backup.
So Scrivener, is it just an app you download?
Yeah, it's a computer app. And it's $45 one time. So, and actually there's a free trial too, if you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to deal with this, but I love it. And I usually recommend, especially if you have a Mac, because I've realized with coaching some people through here, like Kathy, Dale, and Larry Roberts, they have PCs and the PC version is not as doesn't have as much functionality as the Mac version does. And so I would shoot these tutorials like, here's how you do all these things. And they're like, I can't do it. And I'm like, what's wrong? And we pull up their screen and they don't have those features. So that's why I asked.
Larry has a PC.
Yeah, I know. We need to.
It's just unusual.
Get with.
He seems too colorful to have a PC.
That's true. So,
hey, Laura, how do you handle having outside editors in Scrivener?
Yeah.
So how does that work?
So what I have done is I exported from Scrivener. You can export it as a Word doc. And I put it also into Google Drive so that someone else could go through and do those track changes and find edits. And then I manually made the updates in the book. Now, you might think that sounds redundant, but for me personally, and so this might be not true for you, I personally do not want anyone else making a single edit to my final file because I might not agree with their edits. Mm-hmm. And actually, I paid another copywriter to double check me on Jimmy's book because I did it myself, but then I was like, well, let me have someone else with a fresh set of eyes. And even she made a couple of edit changes that were not correct, but she just didn't know. So like, there's this thing called like gerunds and it makes it possessive, whatever. It doesn't matter. But like if I had let her go and edit the original file, no matter what program it was in, she would have changed it to something wrong. And I wouldn't like that. So, and also there's certain preferences with like commas. Do you do Oxford comma or not? I don't know. Like there's little things that someone else might go in and touch that I wouldn't want. So I just exported it into Google Docs, shared the Google Doc file, had them do track changes, and then I just opened them both up and I was like, do I like that? Yes. Or do I not? Whatever. And I kind of made the final updates myself.
So even if you used Grammarly and it checked everything all the way through and it said it's giving you the big thumbs up, you still then pass over an editor to have a read through?
Well, I did, it's funny because like with Jimmy's book, it was what he gave me, the original stuff he gave me was more, it felt more like a stream of consciousness journal entry type of thing. Yeah. And he didn't even capitalize I's or put any paragraphs in it. And it was very raw. So even though I passed through it a couple times, I wanted to get another set of eyes because it was very in depth on like different it was personal stories. So it was like his mom and then his biological dad and his stepdad who he called his dad. And then there was another stepdad who was the father of his sister. And then there's all these boyfriends. So it was like, I wanted to make sure someone else also could follow it logically. Yeah. Like, who are we referring to? Did we not give you enough information? Because after I read it a couple times, now I no longer can see it clearly for the first time anymore. So I wanted another set of eyes. With my own books, obviously for my second book, I didn't have a single person other than me proofread it because it wasn't that long. I wrote it from scratch. I'm a decent writer. I'm like, I'm sure it's fine. So I think it just depends on how dense it is.
Yeah.
But the other thing that is good is like if you wanted to have someone give you the thoughts on, does this flow? Am I losing you anywhere? Am I missing a step? Those kinds of a thing. Then it could be beneficial to shoot it over to someone. And that could even be like a nerdy friend. My best friend from high school edited my first one just for free, for fun, because she's a big nerd. So you might have some people like that in your life who are like, yeah, I want to be a part of your book, you know, or take them out for a nice dinner and they're happy to do it and give you a fresh set of eyes. So
you give them a mention in the book.
Yeah, for sure. Like to be shouted out, like it's a good bonus. People do a lot of free work for that.
Because it must be, when I had the editor last time do it, there were some things they did. It's like a lot of the changes they made were all positive, but there are a few things that even I go back now, and I reread it and I go, oh, it just doesn't flow as well. And then because on my podcast I do some solo shows, and a lot of my solo shows are actually just parts of my book.
Nice.
That I'm just going through. So I'll take a chunk out and I go and drop it into Grammarly to check it all, and Grammarly just beats the crap out of it.
Yeah.
They argue like hell to each other.
Yeah, and some things I don't even actually agree with on Grammarly. So I think there's some stylistic things to like they want to put a comma everywhere, and I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm not adding all the commas you want.
They like a lot of commas, and they also they're always going on about being too passive in a certain area.
Passive voicing.
Passive voicing. And sometimes I disagree and I go, no, I want to leave it how it is.
Yeah.
But I eventually change it and go, damn it does sound better. So.
It's funny. But yeah, so Valerie, did that help?
Yeah. Honestly, that makes me feel a little bit better about doing it in Word first. And then if I do choose to put it over in Scrivener for like formatting out the different sections of the book, it doesn't sound like I'm doing too much more work than you just did it in reverse.
Yeah. I mean, if you've already written the whole thing in Word and you've probably formatted it a bit as you've gone, like you've made certain things, certain sizes and bold and indentations or whatever. Have you done that kind of stuff as you've gone?
Yeah, some of it. Yeah.
Because you're pretty much gonna have to redo that somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I'm not opposed to keeping it in Word.
Yeah, I would say for yours, since you're already as far along as you are and you're comfortable with Word, then maybe just stick with it. And on your next book, consider Scrivener and see if you like the features and functionality more than Word. I literally don't own Word on my computer. I hate it. I keep having to like buy it for like a month just to make updates on my first book. And that's why I haven't made updates on my first book in a while, even though I want to. And I hate it. Like I hate it. And it does these weird formatting things with the stuff I've got in there. And I'm just like, no, I'm never touching it again. So
what do you do with old Word? If somebody sends you a Word document, what do you open it in?
I don't. I send it back and I'm like, take this shit away from me. No. I open it as a Google Doc, or I'll open it, copy and paste it into a Google Doc, and then comment on it and send it back to them as a Google Doc. Like I don't deal with Word.
Okay.
I really hate it. So, but yeah, I would say, Valerie, where you are, unless you're getting stuck in places in Word and you're starting to hate it like I do, I would say just stay there. You're good.
Okay. Cool.
Because you can still export it for Kindle and you can export it for PDF for print. The problem with Google Docs, unfortunately, is it's not robust enough to export it to a file type that looks right for Kindle. That's what I learned the hard way on my first book, because I love Google Docs. So I wrote my entire book in a Google Doc. I formatted it exactly how I wanted. And then I exported it as like a MOBI file or EPUB file. I now recommend EPUB. And it looked like absolute poop. And it wasn't a robust enough program for them to export it properly. So I copied and pasted it into Word because I didn't remember about Scrivener. I didn't have it then. And then the whole other set of nightmares ensued from there, which I don't want to talk about anymore.
You sound scarred.
I am very scarred by Microsoft. Oh, this life.
So take it, Excel's one of your favorites as well then.
I love Excel, but I use spreadsheets now in Google Spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I do love Excel though. What else? Diann,
Yeah,
anything?
I've got nothing at the moment. Just need to get writing.
And get to work.
Yeah.
How many, is there an ideal number? Maybe you have this already in the program and I just haven't gotten to that module yet, but is there an ideal number of reviews that you would want to aim for on launch day?
You're going to hit #1 bestseller even if you have 0 reviews, because the #1 factor is sales, concentrated sales, because Amazon updates their rankings every hour. So in principle, you have to make more sales in 1 hour than anyone else to get there.
Okay.
That's a little simplistic, but that's basically it. Like the #1 focus is getting as many sales as you possibly can on that one day, and you're going to hit it. What I like about reviews is I'm sure it factors into Amazon's algorithm. They don't make that public, so no one knows for sure, but I'm sure it matters, especially like long-term. But the second thing is social proof. So as your book rises in the rankings and people start sharing it more, you're going to have people visiting it from Amazon or even from Facebook, wherever you're sharing, that don't know you at all or don't know you very well. And if you have a lot of reviews, they're going to be more likely to say, oh, let me give this book a shot. So you're going to get more of like a snowball effect from more sales just because of that social proof. So if you can get to 10 right away, that's amazing. Get it into double digits. I would say 10 is a great first goal. You might find it harder than you think to herd the cats and actually get them to do it. Like with Jimmy, he was like, I'm going to have like 100 reviews day 1. No worries. Like I think he got to 10 or 11 and he was just like, I cannot believe these people won't like do what they said they're going to do. Now he's at 19, almost 20. So he's slowly getting people to do it. But even mine are like, one is like 9 or 10 and one has like 15 or something. Like, I mean, I stopped caring after getting my stuff and moving on. But if you can get to 10, I think that's a really great initial number.
So on launch day, like, is there a specific time of day to plan on launching it, or like have that go for that concentrated amount? Is there a better time of day to do that?
I would just say start in the morning whenever you're ready to wake up and go for it. And so, but you're in Central?
I'm in Mountain.
Yeah, so let's say you like get up and you're ready and you want to start promoting at like 8 a.m. Mountain. That's like 7 here, so everyone's awake, and that's, what is that, 10 or whatever in East Coast, so everyone's awake, at least in the US. So that's when I would start. I would just like pick a time that you know you're going to be awake and like energized, and just start go from there. Depending on how well you do, like in the initial few hours, you'll start hitting #1 within a couple hours.
So like, do I want to try to get it all of those concentrated things like within a specific hour to get people to hit that purchase button, or no?
I wouldn't worry about one specific hour so much. I would just pick a time that you're going to start and just know you're going to promote all day long. You're just whole day, you're just going to go crazy for it. And so I'd say like pick like 8 a.m. when you wake up, if that's like when you're comfortable, whatever, and then just block out that entire day. Don't have anything else going on, because you want to keep on sharing updates and thank yous and screenshots, and one-on-one messaging people is the most effective thing. Because if people feel like it's a mass request, they're not going to do it. But if I like message you, Valerie, I really need your help. Would you please go Great seeing you at Social Media Marketing World last year. Can't wait to talk again soon. Boom. Then you're like, oh, I can't ignore this. Versus like, my book is live, go buy it, everybody. Then I'm like, oh, whatever, this is a mass thing. So just like have your schedule cleared for that day, just go. And yeah, you're going to hit it. And you'll stay at #1. Also, because what I teach you guys about categories in the course is to find relevant ones that aren't as competitive, so that you don't need to get hundreds or thousands of sales to get to #1. If you can find a category that's like, in the way I show you, #1 in a subcategory, but 20,000 or higher overall in Kindle, you're going to need 30 to 40 sales and you'll have it. Okay. And concentrated in that day, and you'll get it. I've had clients where it was more competitive, and so it required 80 sales or 100 or whatever before they finally got #1 in all the categories they wanted. But it definitely can happen all in that day.
Cool.
And then stick around for a while too. Sometimes you stay number one all week and you're like, woo, I even stopped promoting and here it is today.
Could be forever.
Forever. Yeah, no, number one forever. That's a guarantee. No, just kidding.
Cool, thanks.
Sure.
So it's Kindle first, and then it's after that you go back and redo it for the hard copy.
Yeah, and there are a ton of things you have to do differently with the formatting. So like, for example, if you have words hyperlinked in your Kindle, that's absolutely fine. But in the print, you need to go through and make sure all of your URLs are written out so that people actually know what to type in to click, because you can't do that from a paper. And if it's like a long, ugly one, you're going to want to like shorten that. So do something with a bit.ly link, or if you have pretty links on like a WordPress site, you can shorten it down. So like I did like copythepops.com/freebies, and that would redirect people over where they could opt in to get extra bonus stuff, which is also a good hack for growing your email list. You can throw
That's one
that.
thing I noticed in Seth Godin's latest book. This is marketing. He had the same URL all the way through it.
Yeah.
Just had the one URL all the way there. Go to Seth Godin /charts.
Mm-hmm.
And it must have been on that page. It must have had a list of all the different things that were in his book. So probably when he did it, there was only one thing he actually probably didn't need to change. He probably wrote it out in full right from the beginning, and therefore didn't need to actually change it.
Mm-hmm. And that repetition helps people remember. So,
I remember it. I don't even think about it.
I know, right?
SethGodin.com/charts.
And it is easy for him to update. So if you ever want to make an update to something, he could just go to that one place to make the update. And now anyone who visits is going to see it again, versus like, oh, I have like 100 different things to update. Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. So he's just got the one page, and it's got everything he was talking about is all on this charts page, even though there might be 20 different things on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so URLs is one thing you want to watch out for. Also for Kindle, you have no page numbers, no pages, because if I read your book on my phone versus on my computer, page 1 is going to be different on each device, page 1, because the text like flows depending on the screen size. So for Kindle, when you export it as a MOBI or an EPUB file, there will not be a single page number that it takes. Even if you have page numbers in your Word doc or whatever, when you export it, the page numbers won't come with it because it doesn't apply. So that's one thing that if you don't worry about page numbers in your Kindle, because you don't have to, once you get to the print version, then you do need to worry about page numbers and like a running head up at the top. And let's see what else. Oh,
Can you
also
show us how to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And Scrivener, I can.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
Google it for Word.
Yeah.
Word is a lot easier because you probably are used to doing it. But and then also with Kindle, because it's read on all different types of devices, some are really new, some are older, they don't allow, or they don't show as much of the fancy fonts. So if you have like a pretty cursive fancy font for like a chapter header, just recognize that when you export it, it might be translated into a more basic looking font because Kindle just doesn't support that. So just going into it, don't be disappointed or shocked. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just Kindle doesn't have the ability to take all of the fancy stuff. Like,
so do you have to apply for an ISBN number, or will they just give it to you?
Good question. So I'm actually adding a new section into the new updated course. So with my first 2 books, I never bothered with a real ISBN. I only published on Amazon, and I just let them come. You can just publish for free and they'll give you their own number. And it's called an ASIN number. It's like Amazon's system for how they're tracking stuff. If you want to do an ISBN, you need a different ISBN number for every different format of the book. And you buy that through, I'll have to look up the exact URL, but it's this agency called Bowkers, Bowkers. So if you Google Bowkers ISBN, you'll find it. I bought
you don't need to worry about it if you're just going to have it on Amazon.
Yeah, if you're just going to do it on Amazon and it's more of like a branding play, and you don't really care about it like showing up in bookstores and like whatever else, then you don't even have to worry about ISBN at all.
So your book then isn't on Book Depository and the other online bookstores. It's just on Amazon.
Yeah, my first 2 books are just on Amazon, and I did click the box where you can have it for extended distribution. So it does go further, and it can go further. I don't really know how far and how, like, I would imagine that even though I click that, and yes, it could be showing up in Barnes & Noble, I don't think that Barnes & Noble, a competitor of Amazon, wants to give it as much preference as if I actually published it also through Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm actually doing right now for Jimmy. So I'll have another little mini lesson on that too, if you want to, know the process for Barnes & Noble. But
so they're an actual bookshop, aren't they? Are they a bookshop? Are they a hard copy bookshop? Are they?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, that's like one of the biggest still standing bookstores in the U.S.
It's like the only one. Still.
I know, right?
I think I went to one in Arizona.
Yeah.
At one of the shopping centers there was a Barnes and Noble, and I just like the smell of books.
Yeah, I know. I do love books, but my first book, The Copywriting for Podcasters, it showed up in a library in Texas. So it can get further distribution, but for me, the first 2, I didn't really care. I mean, there's like other indie publishing places that I could go and put them up and stuff, but I so far I just didn't feel like it was worth the effort to figure it out. Not that it isn't, but
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of saw like my book as, okay, it's a great tool. Let me go now leverage it for other stuff versus trying to sell a lot of copies of just that book.
Yeah, and you never got any printed, did you? You purely, when you want some, you just order them through Amazon and just...
Yeah, I just do. It's print on demand, so you can just order as many as you want, and you get to pay the author copy price. So if the book is $15 on Amazon, this book is fairly hefty, so it's $5.13 per one for author prints, and then also you just pay the shipping on top of that.
How do you do author prints?
It's really easy, and there's a lesson on that in the updated course that I will send you a login for very soon. But yeah, it's super easy. You just do it inside of your KDP. So KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, and that's like the hub for everything. And actually, you might be my first Aussie, so we might have to see if you do like kdp.amazon.co.au or .com.
Yeah, but I just do everything through. Like I want to do this just all through the States. Yeah, I don't want it. It doesn't. People don't need to know I'm from Australia.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, and actually hitting #1 in Australia is way easier than here. So you're gonna knock that sucker out of the park.
Sell 2 books, should be right.
Yeah. Get your 3 kids to buy it and your wife, and you're good to go. You're done.
Yeah, well, the other 2 books, both of them ended up like #1 in podiatry.
Yeah.
Because there aren't a lot of books in podiatry anyway. So that was fun. And the second one, I didn't even go to put it in podiatry. It just ended up there accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he said, "Oh, I see you're #1 in best podiatry books in the world," or whatever. I said, "It's not even supposed to be there, but that's fine." I said, "I'll take it."
I'll take it.
So, okay, this is all going to be fun. It's going to be a fun process.
Yes.
And then Amazon, since they know it's your book, because they give you an ASIN number, then they're the ones that pay you directly.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. When you set up the account, you just put in your tax information and your bank information, and they do all the money processing and just cut you a royalty check.
Okay. And then that's all. And then they, because I've got my author's page set up already on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Is that part of that, is it? Or?
Yeah. So what you, the new folks who haven't done it yet, what you'll see is once your book is actually live on Amazon, then you can create an Author Central account. And that's just at authorcentral.com. It's an Amazon company. We talk about it in the course. So you'll totally see it. Once your book shows up, then you can create an author account. And so you go in, you say like, this is my book, this is my name, yes. And then it'll let you create this little author profile on Amazon. And it basically will just populate all of your books into one little author page, and people can follow your author page, and you can even embed your RSS feed. So I've got all my podcast episodes will automatically populate. Oh, I can even show this to you guys really fast in case Valerie and Diann don't know quite yet what that is. Let's see, Amazon, what is my name? I mean, I know my name, but is it author /Laura. Let's see if that works. Cool. Yeah, so this is my author page on Amazon. So you can put a little bio and your picture, and you can embed your RSS feed. So I have my podcast populating in there. And then, let's see, there's somewhere you can put photos and videos too. I think
Is
it's
this where you audiobook from as well, is it?
So the audiobook you create through acx.com, which stands for Audio Book Creation Exchange, and it's also an Amazon company. And that you can do it yourself with uploading your own files, or you can do like a revenue. You can pay someone up front, or you can do a revenue split with somebody if you want someone else to do the narration of yours. So yeah, so what you'll also see is you can't create your author page until your book is live. So part of what I teach you guys in the few days leading up to your public launch is we're going to actually get your book live on Amazon a few days before your public launch, so that we can get the author page done. We can check and make sure the categories are showing how we want. We can just like work out any little issues before we're sending people over there to buy it. So
like getting the podcast up on iTunes first before promoting it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple things like that. Yeah. So Valerie will be the next one of we four who's going live.
We're all ears. We're waiting.
What's that?
We're all ears and we're waiting.
Yeah,
We're all
waiting
ears.
to know your official launch date.
I know. I need to map that out. I need to actually commit to it.
Yes.
But I will say, inviting people to be part of like a launch team made it a lot more real too.
Yeah.
And I was at a baby shower the other day, and I walked in and I saw someone that I don't normally see in person, and she was like, "Tell me about your book," because she's been seeing the stuff about the covers. So people are paying attention. So
exactly.
now I just gotta finalize it. Yeah, but no, this week I'm going to start launching the first of the interviews. There's going to be like a couple that will go out before the actual launch date. And then I will launch the other podcast interviews like after the book launch day. So I have a reason to keep talking about the book in an easy way. But hopefully that'll help build some buzz. So I'm trying to make sure I have all the ducks in a row for the podcast stuff too. If it had been just the book, I would have been done by now. Doing the interviews made it a whole lot more work.
Yeah.
So
I know. So maybe Diann, you'll have to pick Valerie's brain when you get a little closer, because you're thinking about doing kind of both simultaneously too.
Yep, exactly. Probably using the exact same way with the recording.
Yeah.
And then including the recording as a podcast episode and a chapter in the book. And then, yeah. It does make it more complicated, but obviously we're all banking on it being a much bigger deal.
Yeah, I'm hoping it allows me to get some bigger buzz than I would have normally just by myself. And yeah, and some of these people are in different parts of the country or the world and have much bigger audiences than I do. So
it's good networking. And then
yeah,
at some point you could also put all those video recordings together in some worksheets and have a little mini course that you can sell too.
Yeah.
You know, that's another idea that I've had, like once the book launches, is to make a workbook that somebody could use to like, and I could make that more niched potentially as well.
Yeah.
So maybe one for podiatrists.
Right. I know someone you can talk to.
I can hit it #1 in podiatry too.
Yeah, girl.
No,
So
but
too.
just some of the niches that I have had clients in the past with my normal work. Like
like case study examples.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got to finish the first book.
Yeah.
That's the first goal.
I like that though. It's so much better to think about it with repurposing, even if you don't do it all right away, but just to have that vision in mind is really smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be smart about this. So
yeah. We are all on the right track. Keep it up. And get to work, Tyson.
Yes, I know. I better run because I got to
Yeah, I've got another call too.
Get ready for a call.
Cool. Well, and I will also get you all new logins and passwords to the updated version very soon. I have to actually figure out how to do that, so that's why I haven't done it yet. But yeah, and if you have any questions or any like little thing, like let me know, and I'll point you to the right direction in the updated course, or I'll create a new lesson if that's something I didn't cover yet.
Cool.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Okay, good
Great
to
to meet
see
you guys.
you. Happy New Year.
Okay, you too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.